We begin with a problem, a simple problem. I want to create a little sequence inspired by my new favorite series, Severance. A clean, sterile, corporate yet cinematic aesthetic that feels both beautiful and deeply unsettling. It's perfect, it fits my art style, it inspires me. But there's a catch. Recreating the colors is a nightmare. Every free tool I tried was either too simple, too clunky, or missing that one crucial feature I needed. Affordable tools, same problem. So I turned to DaVinci Resolve, a professional-grade solution, a beacon of hope. And plot twist, the features I actually needed were locked behind the full version. Which, fair, they have to make money, but still frustrating. And then, at exactly the right moment, Dehancer entered the stage. A message in my mail program, sent to me by the fine folks at Dehancer, asking if I'd like to review the film Emulation plugin. Which was hilarious, because I was literally about to start their free trial. And as a reward for reviewing it, I'd get full access. So a challenge presents itself. Can a complete novice actually use this tool to achieve something cinematic? We need footage to test it. Since Severance is my current obsession, I decided to craft a short narrative inspired by its world using some camera shots and 3D scenes. The concept. I sit at my desk, I go through some files. Inside the files I find a letter. It is from Dehancer Corporation. It informs me that I have been caught slacking off, watching Instagram reels instead of working. There's security footage to prove it. It is simple, but good enough to test this tool. After some filming and 3D engineering, I am ready with all the footage at my disposal. I begin my work. DaVinci is opened, the edit begins. And then the color grading tab, which is overwhelming. Nodes, graphs, curves, scopes, a terrifying labyrinth of color signs. Enter Dehancer. One node, one plugin, instant results. No multi-node wizardry required, no advanced technical knowledge, just click and go. And now the real fun begins. At first, importing the footage, selecting the appropriate color space input, and immediately the footage appears strange. This is due to several default options in Dehancer being switched on automatically. Helpful later, but confusing at first glance. We shall fix that in due time. For now, exposure, temperature and tint. We make preliminary adjustments here, though they're not final. Much of the image's contrast and color will be soon redefined by our next and most important step, film emulation. And this is where Dehancer begins to shine. It does not simply toss a filter atop of your footage, no. It offers something more elegant, nuanced control over how actual film stock behaves. I select Kodak Vision 3 500T, my personal favorite, and as fate would have it, a near-perfect match for the cold cinematic sterility of Severance. Next, we encounter a series of menus with wonderfully technical names. Film Developer, Film Compression, Expand, Print and Color Head. Together they allow for an astonishing degree of fine-tuning, each adjustment mirroring, in theory, the steps one might take in real film laboratory. Now, with my admittedly limited experience, I can't claim mastery over this digital darkroom. But the behavior is intuitive enough. For beginners, it's more a journey of trial and error than precise calibration. But with a bit of patience, you'll find yourself arriving somewhat where you meant to go. I adjust the grain, which initially was turned on and made it look odd. What we have here is not fake, artificial digital noise, but realistic grain with full control. And trust me, making grain look good is an art form. I have spent years being not satisfied with my results. Here, it just works with a lot of options to play with. You can choose either film presets or just dial it in yourself. Next, Halation Bloom. Making halation look good with free tools is a nightmare. It never looks right, it never behaves naturally. It usually ends up looking like a blurry version of your original image. It is the bane of my existence, and yet Dehancer makes it ridiculously simple. A few sliders, a few tweaks, and suddenly the kind of organic glow that makes digital footage feel cinematic. This alone, worth it. But we are not done. Film damage? Interesting, but not my vibe. It works in certain cases, but real film damage is so specific to environment that it's hard to make it feel authentic. Film brief, gate weave, same thing. Cool in theory and a nice to have, but I associate them with old slapstick films, not quite what I need. But then, Overscan. This is where everything changes. 20-year-old skater me awakens. I used to spend days scoring the internet for good Overscan footage just to make my skateboard videos look extra spicy. It never quite worked, but here it looks real. It feels real. And suddenly those film damage effects, they have a purpose. Used in combination with Overscan, they sell the illusion. Now, if I combine this with the footage I have here, I get a kind of projector-like style that I need for a specific scene in my story. Too much for a whole movie, but perfect for specific cases. So is it worth it? The answer depends. No, it will never replace real film, but it's the closest thing I found. The sheer amount of control is perfect for professionals, but if you're a beginner, it might not be that straightforward. And here's the important thing to remember. What makes shows like Severance look amazing isn't just color grading or a nice plugin. It is set design, lighting, and cinematography. Color grading with Dehancer can enhance a great image. It cannot create one from nothing. If your footage is cluttered and uninspired, no amount of film emulation will save it. That said, Dehancer fixes a lot of my problems. I no longer have to fight for decent grain. I no longer have to suffer through terrible halation hacks. I no longer have to browse forums for good Overscan footage. For me, it's worth it. For you, well, that depends. At €450 it's not cheap, but if you're a professional who needs these effects regularly and you don't want to spend hours fighting with a complex node setup, this might be the tool you've been looking for. If you're just beginning your journey with the free version of DaVinci Resolve and are considering an investment in editing or color grading tools, it's likely wiser to start with the full version of DaVinci Resolve for €350. Once you've settled into its rhythm and routine, understand basic color grading, you can decide whether to bring in additional companions like Dehancer to further refine and romanticize your color grading experience. So, did it help bring my story to life? Let's take a look, you decide.
Dear Dominic, we regret to inform you that you've been caught slacking off, watching Instagram Reels instead of working. There is security footage to prove it.